So several days ago, Natasha Denona announced a new palette. It's the Zendo palette. They actually have a 5-pan Zendo palette previously, and this I believe this is a big version of that. There's like a 2 section of the palette. This section is the warm side, and this section is the cool tone side. Even though it's a very pretty palette, but first time I was looking at the palette, I feel like it's a lot of shades that they have already done with their existing palette. So today I just want to try if I could dupe this new palette with all the existing Natasha Denona palettes. I don't have all of them, but I have majority of them. So I'm just gonna trying to dupe the Zendo palette with what I have, because I think it's a little bit stupid to purchase another new palette if I could achieve the same look with what I already have. So I have a Inglot empty palette. I'll just find a color in the palette and depot it and put it in this palette. What I'm gonna refer to is their live swatch. So on their Instagram account, Natasha Denona did a live swatch little video. I think first of all it's Natasha Denona, so she probably have the most professional studio light, so I assume this is a quite accurate swatch. They also have a official swatch like this, but it looks like they're photoshopped on the arm, and they're very small, so I don't think this is good enough to like refer to. So I'm just gonna screenshot this live swatch video and trying to find the color that is similar to this swatch. I'm gonna go with the order of the actual palette, like the first row, second row, and the third row. So the first one, it's called Mindful. It's a rich brown color. Maybe I can find a good enough shade in the BIBA palette, because there's a lot of matte rich brown shade. It looks like it's a little bit warm. So maybe I want to try this cocoa shade. By swatch, I think it's quite similar. I had a look at all the palette that I have. The closest one would be the one in the BIBA palette, the cocoa color. So I'm gonna pop this out. So the first one done. For the second shade, which is this one, it doesn't look as yellowy as it looks in the pan on the swatch, so I assume the swatch may be a little bit warmer than the color actually is. I think I could find something very close in the browns palette. The Aloe, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the center shade, and the true browns shade. I think they are all quite similar, because Natasha Denona, she just loves to do all of the browns shimmer shades, so there's actually a lot of them in the existing palette. And the more I look at it, this shade, actually I think the most close one would be the Aloe color from the browns palette. I'm gonna pop this one out. The next color is a matte brown shade. which is this shade. I think there's a lot of shade that could be similar to this. So I have swatched some shades on my arm. They are mostly from the BIBA palette and the bronze palette. From the swatch, I think this color is between two colors in this palette, which is the Sundown shade and the Rage shade. Actually, I think it's more on the peachier side, so I'm gonna go with the Sundown shade. Third shade done. So the fourth shade, it looks like a icy blue shimmer, which I don't think I have something that is very similar, because first of all, I just don't really use that kind of shade. A silvery, a little bit gunmetal looking kind of blue shade. I really don't think I have something that's very similar to that. Looked at all of the shades, and for these two shades, this Flow shade and this Mantra shade, I can only find this two that's like the closest to these two. It's a blue shift to a light pale gold color, and this is a silver color, so that's a little bit different. But I think the teal green shade is quite similar, the Mantra shade. And these two shades, the the blue shimmer is from the green brown palette, and the teal color is from the gold palette. Actually, I layered a little bit this silver shade. There's a silver glitter in this palette, and layered on this blue shimmer that I just swatched on my arm. I think it got quite close to this swatch. So I think you can get this shade by just mixing that two. But I am just gonna pop this one out. So the top row of the Zendo palette is duped. The second row, first one is the shade Aura. It's a peachy, orangey kind of shimmer shade. This one, I find a color from this Sunset palette. This color is very similar. From what I'm looking from the photo, this one is close enough. The next shade is a red shade. I don't have that many reds from the old Natasha palette that I have, so the only one that is close is from the Sunrise palette, is the color Jasper. This shade and the Jasper shade, I think they're quite similar. And that's that. The next looks like a pink color. It's a peachy pink color. Closest one to this relief shade is this shade, which is also from the Sunrise palette. It's the shade Morgan. This shade. It's a peachy, pinky shade. Maybe just a little bit more peach from the photo, but I think they are close enough to be a dupe. So the next is a blue shade. This shade, I believe, it looks a lot more black and dark than the other, like the color from the pan. Swatched some dark shades from all of the palettes. The most similar one is from the gold one, is this palette. It's not a dupe from any means, but it is the closest one that I have from all the palettes I have from Natasha. And I actually don't care if it's not a dupe that's close enough, because even if I buy this Zendo palette, this color probably would be the color that I don't reach for. So the next shade looks like a very pale minty matte shade, which I don't think I really have a dupe, but I'm just gonna try and find something that's similar to that. With this minty shade, I think I have to go for this one, which is this. Again, it's not a dupe by any means, but it's the closest one, and I also don't really care. I won't use that shade anyway. The second row done. The first three color on the swatch, they are like this, and I find some dupe for them. This shade, the warm reddish brown shade, most similar to this glooming shade from the bronze palette. This pinky shimmer shade, this one from the sunset palette, Azali shade. I don't know if I'm pronouncing right, but it's that shade. And there's a orangey matte shade, which the most close one is the one from the sunset palette. And that's it. Next, two neutral shade. I think they're quite easy to dupe from the existing palettes. They are quite similar to these two. I think they are similar enough, and they are all from the sunset palette. So this is the result. I think they are quite similar from just looking like this. Since I duped the palette, so I think I'm just gonna recreate a look that they actually did on their official account. This look is using the Zendo palette, and they are showing what shadow and in what order that they used. So I'm just gonna go with it. It's kind of like a halo eye kind of thing. So let's actually do it. But I don't have a base on, so I'm gonna put on some foundation. I applied this NARS Natural Radiant foundation on my face. Also prepped my eye with it. And there's also some face powder on my eyes to set the eye area. So this look. It actually it's looking quite difficult. Because I'm not a makeup artist by any means. So usually on a daily basis I just use like 2 to 3 shades to create an eye look, but there's literally 9 shades used on this eye look. So I'm gonna try my best, but I don't know if I can really do a decent job. Well, I think I did a decent job of duping this palette though. So the first shade, they put this very deep dark brown shadow on the outer corner and also on this inner part. And this is something that I have never done. Looks like it's a triangle shade on the outer corner. Maybe like this. And there is a little line on the inner, like this part. Well, I never put anything this dark on this area of my eye, so let's see how it goes. So the next, they blended the edge of the outer corner using this shadow. There's like not a video or anything to show how they actually done it, so I'm just assuming what they have done. Next, they use this peachy shade on the crease, outer crease, to, it looks like to connect this two part. So let's do that. They also used the orange shade underneath this dark brown shade that they have used on the inner corner, like on this part. By combining all of this palette together, I think they have improved the palette, like the formula, quite a lot. Because the sunrise palette, the formula is a lot better than the sunset one, from what I can tell. The fifth shade is this shade, this pinky brown shade, and they used in the inner half of the lid. Finger works so much better with the Natasha Denona shimmer formulas, and there's a lot of fallout on this area. Next shade, which is this one, the brown shade on the center. The inner corner, they used this shade, the second shade. Again, I never use a shade that this dark on my inner corner, but we're gonna try it. They put the teal color on the lower lash line. Last shade, the orangey shimmer, they use it on the inner corner of the lower lash line. Look actually should be done by this step, but I think the dark matte brown shade is a little bit blend away, so I'm gonna to layer a little bit on top to make this look somehow similar to the picture. So this is what I have done from this picture. Actually, it's nothing like the look they have done. But what can I do? This is just my skill is just like this. So I'm gonna finish the look anyway. So the makeup has done. It actually looks nothing like the picture, but it's not because of the eyeshadow, it's just purely because the lack of skill, but this is the best I can do. So the dupe of the Zendo palette used 4 shades from the Sunset palette, 3 shades from the Bronze palette, 3 shades from the Sunrise palette, 2 from the Gold palette, 2 from the Green Brown palette, 1 from the BIBA palette. So I think if you have the Sunset, the Sunrise, and the Bronze palette, you can dupe the majority of this Zendo palette, because only from that 3 palettes, there's 10 dupes in them. And the other dupes, like the green one, the blue ones, are mainly from the Gold palette and the Green Brown palette. Actually, they are not that close dupes, so if you're like me, you won't like reach for this kind of shades anyway. I think the Sunset, Sunrise, Bronze palette is just good enough. So that's the video. Actually, I had quite much fun trying to dupe the palette and also play with the palette. Even though I don't think I did a very great job recreating the look, but I'm kind of liking this kind of like inner liner kind of look. Maybe I'll try to practice to do more this kind of look. It's looking kind of nice. That's today's video. Thank you for watching. Bye.